Hello and good morning. It's Susie here. Welcome to this week's Member Spotlight. So Monday mornings is the time that I get the wonderful opportunity to introduce you to one of our incredible Her Business Network members. Our community is full of women business owners across all sorts of industries. And when they're invited to this show, it's because they have some area of expertise that I think that you can benefit from. And today's member totally ticks that box because she's a long-time marketer. She's a long-time member of our network. And I've seen her business grow and develop over the years. And being a marketer, she's not only going to talk a little bit about her business and its evolution, who her ideal client is and how she works, but she's also got some marketing gems waiting for you. Now, in introduction, I have known Nicki for probably at least 10 years now. I actually don't know the date. She helps medium to large organizations specifically with their marketing by becoming kind of their in-house marketing and communications team. And so she helps them boost their business growth and manage change, and her team helps her do that. She really, as I said, she works with that higher level business who need not only great ideas, but a team to help them execute. And she becomes that team. So let's go ahead and bring her on the line. Hey, Nicki.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to see you. We've just been gas bagging behind the scenes because I haven't seen Nicki for about 4.5 years since she was having her last bubba.
It's lovely to see you again.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you too. And I've been snooping around your website, so I know that a lot of things has changed. You're doing amazing work. I gave a little bit of an introduction, but why don't you go ahead and tell us about your business?
Sure. So as Susie mentioned, we are an outsourced marketing and communications team. We look after medium to large organizations, local ones, but we also get global organizations that get us to be their local presence for them to roll out their local marketing. The difference between us and other agencies is that we provide a whole team. So unlike people who in-house employ one marketing employee, they'll get access to a team of specialists. So they get the senior expertise when they need it, or the specialist expertise, whether that's digital or communications based or design, whatever it is it needs to kind of be involved, they can have. And they are able to use us as they need us, when they need us. And as Susie said, we are everything from strategic, so the senior strategic planning part, through to just the tactical execution of rolling things out. Basically, we are a committed marketing team without the commitment, because you pay for what you get.
I love it. Now, I mentioned medium to large businesses, but why don't you tell us a little more about who your ideal client is?
So our ideal client, as I said, can be based anywhere in Australia, or they can be global. Doesn't really matter now with everything being so virtual. And they are medium to large organizations, basically ones that can invest in their marketing and communications, but either don't have a marketing communications team or don't have one locally. I think the important part of that is, and even for the small businesses, at the point where they're starting to engage organizations or agencies like mine, or even some of the freelancers, it's being prepared to kind of invest in that marketing. And they have a good, realistic understanding of their own business. So by the time you're coming to the table and talking to us, our ideal client knows about their business and their products and services and where they're wanting to take their business. And they know who their target market is, and that they're basically looking for long-term marketing communication support. So not just like a one-off small project, but more that they're looking for an ongoing relationship so they can continue to grow their marketing. And the reason being that marketing needs momentum. Like one-off, just doing an ad hoc email campaign just won't get the results. Like people need to see it multiple times. So you need to build momentum, and that takes time. So we're really looking for somebody who understands that and is prepared to have that kind of more longer term support and relationship. And the other thing is that in our ideal client is that we're looking for someone that will invest not just their money, but their time and their knowledge to support the marketing efforts, including like the planning and all the stages throughout. We find sometimes people come to the table and they go, right, please go do my marketing, but they know their business better than anyone, and we really need them to come, and they need to spend the time kind of being invested at the planning stage, and also kind of be invested as it goes along. You know, when we're sending or developing marketing things, you need that person to really look at it and say that is right, or that hits the target market, that kind of thing. And
it's a really good point. I just want to make a point about that, because it's not an area of your business. No area of your business is one where you abdicate. As the business owner, you want to sort of be on top of it at a strategic level, but you don't have to be doing all the doingness. That's where services like Nickis is there. But you can't just say, look, I'm just not a marketer, do my marketing. That's not going to work, is it?
No, that's right. And that does happen. So that's why when I'm talking about my auditor, because then you just don't get the results that you want. You get out what you put in. So we find, unfortunately, that if people don't put that effort in from their own business side of it, then they won't get the results that they want out the other end of it. Because whilst we can do marketing and we're pretty good at being intuitive and understanding, because we deal with a lot of different kinds of businesses, are pretty good at hitting that ground running and working that out. But at the same time, no one knows their business. And I think you told me this, Susie, no one knows their business the way you know your own business, So definitely for us, that's an important point for the ideal client. And then the other part of that is that they're then kind of respecting the marketing communications expertise that they're paying for to get the results. So there's nothing worse than somebody who has asked us to do something and invested their time and money and all that kind of stuff. But then when we're giving them something, we've normally had a strategic reason behind every point of that campaign or process. They start tweaking different ones, and then the outcome's different, and then they don't understand why the outcome's different, or it's, and obviously we absolutely like everybody else would take into account personal opinion. We're not precious. We're happy to tweak it a bit if it doesn't quite fit what their market needs or what they, but you find a lot of people, and me too, you get attached to your own, particularly your own business, and it's a lot of it's personal taste, and it's just understanding that if you're going to pay for all that expertise, it's great to kind of listen to that and still but,
it's like getting a mentor and then just ignoring everything they said.
Exactly. So yes, but that's what I'm saying, when we're thinking of that ideal client, all of those things. And I know I haven't talked a lot about, unusually so, probably just all the demographic stuff, with people, but to us, the one thing I worked at is we kind of know our demographic in terms of size and location, but those other more emotive type of things, or the intangibles, are what really makes an ideal client, what really makes a successful marketing communications kind of partnership, I suppose, and helps their business grow.
I love what you said about marketing needs momentum. That is so key. Listen, if those of you watching, and I know there's a bunch of you watching, or you're watching the replay, they are gold. There's gold in those words, because doing an ad hoc marketing is going to give you ad hoc or no results at all. It's when your marketing has momentum, when your marketing comes from a strategic place, and you are not trying to find the scraps, but you're actually putting together a marketing strategy, and then you're looking at the execution. And whether you're a small business owner and you're doing it on your own, or whether you're getting the support, it doesn't matter. It's still coming from a strategic perspective rather than ad hoc. And I know for some of you, that is something to be learned, and that's okay. We can support you with that. And then for those of you who do have the budget, then that is what you pay for. You pay for that expertise, and for someone but if someone says, yep, I will do that, and they are just going to take on this ad hoc project, I would run the other way. I would always want someone to be taking it at a level that is higher than what we're working on now. So if someone came to me and said, I want to start a podcast, I would say, why? Where does it fit into your ecosystem? How is it part of your strategy?
Yes.
Because it's not about the things, it's about getting that momentum and about having things working cohesively. I want to ask you, go ahead.
I was going to say, we use those, I basically almost like coined that phrase, because I use it all of the time to try and explain to people that you find that everybody thinks, I'm suddenly going to do some marketing, and they're just going to hit, there's like a silver bullet or a silver button, and they're going to press that, and all of a sudden all the leads
all the dollars are way down.
Exactly. And it's understanding that it can take 6 to 12 months for good marketing to build up, and you can have some short-term things that are trying to encourage some leads straight away, but the ones that are going to deliver better are normally ones, as you were talking about in with the podcast, it's planned. Where it fits into the whole business plan, to what the business objectives are, and your marketing stuff should dovetail into kind of achieving that. And then it's making sure that you have thought through that. You have a strategy and a plan of how that's going to roll out, and then you take the time to do all that properly and don't shortcut it, and understand that it is, and it's totally understandable in small businesses. Like I understand even from mine, it's really hard to invest without getting a return quickly.
Yes.
But it's understanding that unfortunately marketing is that kind of activity. You need to invest and allow enough time and understand you're not going to get that return instantaneously. And sometimes miracles happen and you get leads really quickly. And sometimes you can have a strategy. We've tried to give strategies to some of our other clients who need some short-term stuff, to have some quick short-term wins, but also investing in the longer-term stuff. So the momentum is pretty key.
Tell me, what is the problem that people are typically experiencing in their business when they come to you?
Normally, some of the areas that people come to us for is they're at that kind of normally at a growth or transformation kind of stage. They're ready to grow, or they have some kind of transformation going on with their business, and they don't really know how to deal with that. And they just really need to get some expertise in to come and help them take care of that. And they often don't have that in-house marketing expertise, or they can't afford it. I mean, it's or they can afford maybe one marketing person and they're just a generalist, and they're normally like a mid-weight person. Sometimes they've got an admin person converted to being a marketing person, and that's fine for the execution, but they don't necessarily have the strategy or planning. And that's where, they'd get us, even if we came into the strategy and planning and then helped their admin, or their junior marketing person kind of roll that out and gave them some direction, then that's fine. So they're normally that kind of stuff. They don't necessarily have the expertise or the specialist or the senior expertise in-house. So they come to us and they can get a whole marketing team. They get the specialist that's needed. We can combine the different specialists as it's required, and they kind of get that senior expertise kind of going for them. Sorry, no, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to talk about that senior expertise. And I think as business owners, we sometimes try and patch things together. Where can I do a free webinar? Where can I do a short course, etc.? But when we are not a marketer at the level that you are, that's the bits that's missing. It's having that import. And like you said, if you can get that import, then the tactical stuff you can probably patch together a lot easier, because you have such a very clear direction of where you're going. Sorry, continue on. And then I know you've got some tips that you want to give us here.
Sure. So even just what you said, going off that senior expertise component, some people just can't afford, like, I used to be head of marketing communications for a large organization. Could some of the medium businesses that I deal with afford me? No. If they've been trying to afford me, full time, or somebody of my capability, they couldn't. But with the fact that they can get us as a whole team, they can utilize, an hour or two of my expertise doing some kind of plan at the beginning, or overlooking everything when it's made. It comes back through myself. We also have like senior marketing managers or senior marketing communications who are the dedicated person, and they will go through it all. So as a team, we kind of look at everything. So they're getting senior expertise applied, and often multiple expertise applied, that they wouldn't normally be able to afford, because you couldn't necessarily afford to have 5 people in-house.
No.
And they'll only do it for going, they only need 2 hours of Nicki's time. And on this job, for whatever campaign we're doing, we need a copywriter, we need, a graphic designer, we need a web developer. So they kind of get that whole team and they get the whole expertise, but just we spread that out. So rather than we have a great cartoon on our infographic style thing on our site about that one day 8 hours of one medium-sized marketing person versus 8 hours with us, which might be 2 hours of a senior person putting the expertise in, 2 hours of like a copywriter, 2 hours of designer, 2 hours of a web developer, whatever, to show that we can spread that out to kind of give you better value or access to everything. And I think the other thing that you're saying is about the senior expertise is it just means that I was trying to say something that I can do something in 1 hour that might take a midweight person 3 or 4 hours. So sometimes people underestimate that. They go, oh, this person's cheaper, and you go, well, that's great, but they won't have thought of this, and they won't be thinking that, in 6 months, how is that going to have enough elasticity in it? If my business grows this way or does this thing, that I can kind of cover that, or that, so it's just showing that, it's that added value of the senior person. And depending on what's happening, some of our businesses, you're talking about, why they're coming to us, some of it is they're going through change. And that requires some real expertise to handle change management, whether it's a rebrand, whether it's a merger or acquisition, whether it's just an employee issue. We deal with employee engagement and stuff like that too, and helping get the employees' internal marketing, basically, and getting them engaged. And that requires some senior expertise. So anything along those lines, I suppose, is where we kind of help them. And the other thing I was thinking of is that, as we were just saying, instead of dealing with 5 or 6 different freelancers or different people, they come to us and we do it all together, and it's led by a senior person. And the benefit of that is you're not briefing multiple people.
Right.
You're not trying to manage multiple. Everyone's not operating in a silo, so you get the benefit of an integrated kind of marketing and communications activity. So anything that we're thinking of, we try to think of, and look, even for the small business, that's the same thing. Even if you are doing it yourself and if you are managing multiple freelancers, you need to think about how you can stretch that activity you're doing as far as you can to get as much bang for your buck. So every time we're thinking about something that we're doing, we're like, okay, well, how can we do something with this on the website? Can we do something with this on our social media? Can we do any PR stuff around this? You know, what can we do with our current client database? Can we do anything with, you know, affinity like partnerships or anybody that we know? Can we get them to do something or do members offers or whatever? So it's just thinking with any of the activity they're doing, how can they kind of stretch it a bit more? So for us,
I love that. That's really great advice for anyone who's watching, who most of the people who are going to be watching, and Nicki knows this because, you know, she is one of our members, is women who are often doing it on their own. But you might have, as Nicki said, you've got a copywriter, you might have a graphic designer, you might have someone on Fiverr doing something else, you might have a video person. And so you're doing all that, you're pulling it all together, but maybe then you're only seeing a single application.
Yes.
But if we hear what Nicki just said, it's like, oh, well, how can I now take this to my, you know, and we have introduced people to the earned, owned and paid channels, Nicki, of, you know, to my database, to my social media followers, to my own podcast or my own webinars, or maybe it's publicity worthy, maybe it's there's a strategic partnership, maybe I can do an email swap with a similar, or maybe I've got some extra dollars and I'm going to give them to Zuckerberg, or I'm going to give them to that trade fair,
that's right,
whatever those things are. But it comes at from a top level down. It comes from a strategic level.
It does, yeah. And like we get people who ask us even just to help with that strategic planning part. So then they can go manage all those different freelance and stuff to roll it out. And then they come back to us at the end just for like, you know, sometime like 4 hours or something to kind of review all the stuff that's coming in. So we can, before it goes live, we can go, yes, that's good and that's on track and whatever. But sometimes, you know, that's where that comes back to that senior component we were talking about earlier, having that little expertise at the beginning, say, this is what you need to think about and here's how you need to brief it to all those people. And as you said, having worked out what all your channels are is great, so that every time you're doing something, you go, right, how will that roll out across all those channels?
All those different ways. What do I own? What can I borrow authority from someone else from, and what do I need to pay for? Now, I know that you've bought 3 pieces of advice that you find yourself often giving clients, and speaking specifically, though, to the small business owner who is, you know, the majority of our community.
Okay, so some of them I've briefly touched on as we've gone. One of them is that you need to plan to succeed. So I find that if people rush in and just do things piecemeal and they haven't got that overarching vision or roadmap or plan of where it's going, and who they're talking to and what they're delivering and what all the channels and execution points are, that normally you aren't as successful. You know, the most successful marketing and communications activities occurs when there is a plan and you know your objectives and you know who you're talking to and you know what you're saying. And, you know, so it's all of that, having that kind of roadmap. And a lot of people don't want to invest the time and effort in that. They just want to get on with it. But honestly, I would really advise spending some time on that early on will save you time later on. You know, you will waste time later because, and you won't get as good an impact as what you would get if you were doing it from a plan. So that I think is really underrated. I know people don't want to invest in it, but
I can't remember what that saying is, that measure twice, cut once, which is
exactly,
kind of it's like the time you take in the planning is going to make everything else go far more smoothly. Just before we go into your next 2 points, I know there's some people watching who may have questions. If you have a question, a marketing related question for Nicki, we're on here for a little while longer. If you want to go ahead and put it in there, if you just want to say hi, because I can see that you're there, but you're being very, very quiet. No doubt you are enthralled and listening to all this.
Thoroughly engaged.
All right. So you need to plan to succeed. Check.
Yes. So even if it is back of envelope, it does not have to be. We used to in the old days do like 20-page plans, and I would see people just like put them on the shelf, and we would have spent hours doing it, because that's how kind of complex it all was. But everyone would just shout and they go, great, that's a nice dust collector. I'm like, great, well, that's just a waste. So now we get down to, even with a lot of even our bigger clients, even if it's like 1 page, 2 pages, just something that kind of clearly kind of maps out where it's going. Sometimes we take that down to another couple of levels after that, do one overall quarter, what marketing and communication you're doing for this quarter or this half a year. And then, those campaigns each have a little bit more detail to them. So yes, that is one big recommendation. And we updated our link the other day. One of my masterclasses on marketing still has a link to a 1-page marketing action plan, and I've had a few people downloading that lately, actually. So that's still there. Yeah, masterclass I did, I don't know, a few years ago.
Yes.
So
yeah, well, that's a great point. So for the HerBusiness Network members who are watching, there is a masterclass with Nicki inside of your library, and it's still current, still relevant. So you absolutely want to go check that out. Felicity says, we're speechless with Nicki's expertise.
Oh, thank you, Felicity. Very sweet.
And Yvonne says, great info, just listening. Great.
Well, great. Thank you. So yeah, that should be there. We had to update the link the other day because, as you said, Susie, we updated our website and that kind of threw it off. But your ladies we gave them a new link, so that should be fine. So that's there just as a quick 1-pager. The other tips I'd say is the one we talked about earlier, which was that you need to kind of build some marketing momentum. They say people need to see things like 6 to 7 times before it kind of sinks in and they take action. So that one email campaign is kind of not going to get there. So you need to think, I'm going to, how I'm going to ramp this up and what I'm going to keep doing each month to build some momentum. And I know that's overwhelming. I was saying to Susie earlier, I am terrible. I'm like that hairdresser with the bad hair or the builder with the bad hair. It's really hard to find time to do my own marketing and work on my business and that's why I'm in HerBusiness, while I'm, doing it for my clients. But even if it's just like having that 1-pager map of what I'm doing for the next half a year, and it's something that's happening kind of every month or whatever, and that's a little bit planned out, kind of to build that momentum helps. When it's about, we talked about earlier, one of the reasons why I try and stretch everything as far as I can is I understand that budgets are tight. Even in big companies, I know the budget's tight and I'm trying to do something for that. So I'm thinking, how many places can I put this or where else can I stretch this? Mm-hmm. So if I'm thinking they need to set multiple times, as you're saying, Susie, it might be, I'm doing something through my HerBusiness membership and I'm leveraging a few opportunities that Susie gives to her members to try and get something out there. And that ties in with like a blog on my website. And that ties in with some Facebook advertising I'm doing. And then that ties in with maybe I managed to get the same topic or whatever campaign I'm working on onto a guest blog somewhere else. Or, I do a PR release, a media release or something, like whatever. So I'm just saying it's just trying to stretch that out so people see it multiple times. It seems funny, but you know how people say, a lot of the brands, we talk about one thing, which is just to have that brand awareness. I know that name versus having brand strength. I know what that brand does. But even just seeing that brand multiple times, even if I don't know what it does, but I've seen it like on Facebook and it's popped up in something from HerBusiness and it's, come in all these different ways. Half the time people don't even remember where they've seen it. They just go, oh yeah, I've heard of that brand before. And suddenly it's got a whole lot of credibility because they've seen it, but that might have just been your advertising. So,
can I add something to that?
Yeah, sure.
This is something I heard. I'd be interested in your take on it, because sometimes we'll be emailing people and you think, oh, they're not buying or they haven't clicked or they're not responding. But don't underestimate the value of showing up in someone's inbox again and again, because you will be top of mind. They will have that recall. But if you think, oh, I sent that one email and no one responded, so I'm not going to send anymore, then you're kind of missing the point that Nicki's making, is that you just want to be there.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's why you do, like the email funnels and all those great email campaigns. And I know you do a great course on it, Susie. The reason is because you want to take them on that journey. They need to see it multiple times and they need to be saying, okay, firstly, we have a good chart that's about attracting, educating, engaging, converting, all the way through to then kind of retaining them. And it's because you need to have something happening at each of those points. Like first I need to be seeing you, and then often as happens with all of us, we get distracted. I see things come in, I think, oh yeah, that looks interesting, and then I kind of get distracted and I forget about it, and I need to see it multiple times before I actually take action. I go, oh, actually, I really got to do something with that, so I'm going to kind of do that now. So absolutely agree. That was a perfect example. You need to see that multiple. The one times when we've had clients go, oh no, no, I'm only paying for one email, and I'm saying that, and I'm really like, I really advise against it, but if that's what you want to do, and then they just don't get the results, is for that kind of reason. So the momentum, I'd say, and making sure you're planning that in. And the last thing I was going to say as my tip was the what's in it for me component. So we all do this. I do it too. I am terrible at making my own, writing about my own business half the time, because we're all so attached to it, and we all have our own perspective on what we think is important about our business, our products and services and things like that.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily what's important to the target market, because as the target market, I'm busy running around looking after my business, after my home, after my kids, after whatever's happening in my life. So to get my attention, it's got to be the what's in it for me part, So as a basic example, you see a lot of companies who'll get there and say, we've been in business for over 50 years. Okay, that's great. Why do I care you've been in business for over 50 years? Like, how is that affecting or making my life better? I mean, we talked earlier about the pain points of some of the businesses. Well, this is exactly that. What are their pain points in my target market? And how am I benefiting that or making that better? So it's just on a small scale, even like the 50-year business, turning that around. Why do I care? I care because you're credible. You've been there for over 50 years. You're not some dodgy backyard brothers because you've been around for. You're trustworthy. You're credible. You're going to be there tomorrow. If I, engage your services, you'll be there tomorrow. So it's just about getting some of that. I'm not saying you shouldn't say you've been there 50 years, but understand what the benefit is to the what's in it for me. For the target market. So
I just want to share a couple of comments with you. So Selena's echoing, yes, we do get so attached to what we're doing in our business. And Christina says, hey, Susie and Nikki, thank you for sharing this amazing call. It's very valuable. And lots of fun emojis. Yeah, thank you, Christina. That's good.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Now, yeah, they're awesome. And if you've just joined us, this is Nicki Walsh from Blaze Marketing. We've been talking all things marketing, and she's talked to us a little bit about her ideal client, the sorts of problems that her business and her team help them with. And short story short is that she becomes your marketing team, and she brings in the strategic level thinking, the high level marketing strategy, but also the more tactical things like the copywriters and the designers and all the other elements that you might want. So whether you're interested in getting a top line strategy and you're going to do the execution, or whether you have a business that has the budget to say, you know what, I know I need to do this properly, I'm going to give Nicki and her team access to my brain so that she can get my vision, so that she can help me prioritize how I'm going to build momentum in my marketing and keep it that way so that I can get these particular results. And along the way, we've been also leaving you some tips. So if you've just joined us, then go ahead and rewind and catch those. Now, Nicki, you've been a member of the HerBusiness Network. I'm going to say close to 10 years. I should have looked it up before you.
No, I think you're probably right, because I've been in business for a little bit longer than that, and I joined it very early on to help give me some momentum and like push.
Right. And now your ideal client isn't necessarily a big part of our network membership, because we have mostly owners of small business, although we have multi-million-dollar businesses as well. So tell me, as a business owner, what have been and continue to be the benefits for you of being part of the HerBusiness Network?
Okay. So look, to be honest, I joined HerBusiness for me, so for me and my business, not necessarily for my clients. Or don't get me wrong, there's always heaps of opportunities, and it's great that you give those to your members, as I mentioned earlier, Susie, to try and help build their client base. But also I did it because I often need the motivation and the focus to move on things from my own business, because I'm so busy doing all the client stuff. It's easy to get distracted from what I kind of need to do. So, one of the things that I started from early on was the round tables and stuff, because you did a great job of getting me to even write, fill in the tables about what my focus was going to be, what my problems were, what my focus was going to be for the next quarter. And it's great just to kind of make me think that. And now I still find all of that. And even though my business is bigger and I have more ongoing, you've kind of evolved with me too, in the sense that not only do I have the support of other business owners and other people in the community, which is really nice, and one part of that is you don't always have someone to talk to who understands all the challenges that you're facing as a business owner, and you can't always talk to your staff about them, and they're a different perspective than what you are. And so it's really lovely to have a community of, other people who are experiencing what it's like as a business owner themselves, the ups and downs. So you can have the celebrations together, but at the same time, you've got people who might have been through some of the issues before and can give you some tips, and sometimes even just the support to go, yep, you know what, we all find that. And you think, oh, good, I'm not alone. So that part of it is great. And then the other part, I suppose I really get a lot out of is all the content that you provide. I find that fantastic and so on point and on topic for me. Things that I'm currently thinking about, I don't know, it's like you are telepathic. I suddenly get something in my inbox I'm thinking about. I can't always find enough time to do it all, and that's totally on me. I think, oh God, I really want to do that. I really want to see that. And then I need to be reminded 6 or 7 times to kind of actually go do it. But yeah, the content and stuff is fantastic. So for me, it's kind of the people and what you put out, how you really understand what's driving me and what are my issues at the time, and you really speak to that. So thank you. That's what I love about it.
Well, thank you. Well, we love having you in the community, and I'd love to see you more. I have missed your face. Now, Felicity said Blaze Marketing is the best marketing name for you, Nicki. Very energetic start to the day. She is. Well,
Thank you, Felicity.
Your title is Trailblazer, right? So your team has different titles. And
so that's right. So on our website, we came up with different, more creative names for the team that related to, obviously, Blaze Marketing names. So that's where that came from. And the name came originally when I was thinking it up because I thought, what are we really doing or trying to help businesses with? And it's to kind of move forward and grow and take that next step and basically to blaze a trail, So the idea being that we help businesses blaze a trail.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Not particularly, but thank you. Good luck with all your marketing. Make sure you put some effort into it and invest some time and things into it. That's the big thing I'd say. Don't underestimate planning and give yourself enough time to build some momentum. Thank you so much for having me, Susie.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So much goodness from Nicki from Blaze Marketing. And it really does start with having a plan, having access to the best information, the best expertise you can get, and thinking about your marketing strategically. As business owners, there are so many things for us to focus on, and sometimes we're not sure exactly where to focus. But if sales is one of your key focuses, then marketing has got to be where it's at. And even if you think, I'm not a natural marketer, there is so much support available for you. Actually, all month inside of HerBusiness this month, our focus is on sales and marketing. So members have been working on their social media plans, doing their strategic marketing planning, doing 30 days of Facebook Lives. And I raised my hand, I said, I'll do that too. They've been reworking their websites, but all the way we've been supporting each other and being accountable to each other, because we're all women business owners and we're all trying different things in marketing. But here's my thing, as the leader of this community, and while Nicki is the trailblazer, I like to think of myself as the ringleader. My role is to ensure that we're always coming at it from a strategic perspective, because ad hoc marketing is going to give you ad hoc results. And what we're really keen to do, especially for members of the HerBusiness Network, is ensure that everything that you put your precious attention to is really going to make a big difference to move the needle in your business on the things that matter most to you, the things that are going to help you get your ideal business. Sharon says, I only came in at the end, but wow, what great advice. It's all there for you to listen to, Sharon. Sharon's one of our wonderful members. Now, if you are not a member of the HerBusiness Network, then we would love to welcome you into our community. Our doors are normally closed. However, for 3 days only, towards the end of August, we are going to be opening the doors. And so if you would like to join us, all you need to do is head on over to herbusinessnetwork.com to request an invitation. It's obligation free, but what it means is that you'll be at the top of our list to get an invitation when the doors do open. And as I said, they'll only be open for 3 days and then we're closed again, and we go about supporting our members to do what they need to do next in their business. And to give you an idea, we've just been focusing on sales and marketing. Next month, we start talking about your products and your offers and how do you name and price and package and deliver an offer so that it's compelling. Because when you have compelling offers, you often don't need a whole lot of offers to really make a big difference in your business. You just need to have offers that speak to your ideal client, like Nicki was talking about, and delivers to them something that's going to help them move the needle in their life, have some transformation in their business. So we're very excited to be the guides for this woman, the women in our community, to grow their networks, get new clients, and see more of an ideal business in their future. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thanks again to Nicki from Blaze Marketing. Go ahead and look her up. And for those of you who are members, there is a masterclass with Nicki with a special download, and I'll make sure that we give you those links so that you can follow that up. To all of you, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining us.